I've been working at this practice since they opened 2 years ago, and I've trained and helped set up the patient base. I've got the implant system set up, yet I have never gotten a raise.
There it is.
How do I approach my doctor?
Okay, so I'm going to take my side, but then I want to hear your side from the dentist perspective. Okay,
Okay.
so it one thing that bothers me the most, excuse me, is whenever I'm out there and dental assistants say, "Well, I've worked at a practice for 10 years and I've never gotten a raise." You know, I understand that, but it's not like we need to judge milestones and say, "Well, it's been X amount of time, so I deserve more money." It has to be, what have you put back into that practice? What attitude have you brought in every day? What business systems have you helped build? Now, it sounds like this dental assistant has helped build something on the implant side. So if I'm that assistant, I look back at those 2 years and say, where was the practice then versus now in terms of income, in terms of patient base, in terms of everything on the business side of things? And have I brought in enough business to earn that raise?
Hey, everybody. My name is David Rice. I'm the chief editor here at Dentistry IQ, back for another episode of Gloves Off with.
Kevin Henry, love being out there talking to those dental assistants and helping them have a better career.
Kev. They're so lucky to have you. There are few people that I can say the word champion next to their name, and you are absolutely that human.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm lucky enough to do this and go around the world doing it. And I'm lucky to do it with you in so many places. And I love that you and I can bring that dentist and dental assistant perspective together and really talk openly about things.
It's fun. I love that so much too. And I feel like philosophically, you and I look at the world the same way, yet we're entirely different people. So I think a really, living example of if I see your strengths and you see like, oh, that numbskull probably does one or two things okay too, we're better together instead of worrying about like, oh, I don't know as much or how am I going to look?
No, I think we can only bring our own experience to the table, but then we've got to rely on that person on the other side to bring theirs as well and just kind of have a layer. And that's one of the things I love about speaking with you whenever I can.
Yeah, it's fun. Okay, so speaking of that, you and
Oh
I
yeah.
get lots of questions from people as we roam around this wonderful country of ours, and some of them are challenging. Can we hit one of those questions?
Yeah, because I think I know where this is going. So absolutely.
Oh, you know where this is going. I'm going to read it so I don't mess it up. But I've been working at this practice since they opened 2 years ago, and I've trained and helped set up the patient base. I've got the implant system set up, yet I have never gotten a raise.
There it is.
How do I approach my doctor?
Okay, so I'm going to take my side, but then I want to hear your side from the dentist perspective. Okay,
Okay.
so it one thing that bothers me the most, excuse me, is whenever I'm out there and dental assistants say, "Well, I've worked at a practice for 10 years and I've never gotten a raise." You know, I understand that, but it's not like we need to judge milestones and say, "Well, it's been X amount of time, so I deserve more money." It has to be, what have you put back into that practice? What attitude have you brought in every day? What business systems have you helped build? Now, it sounds like this dental assistant has helped build something on the implant side. So if I'm that assistant, I look back at those 2 years and say, where was the practice then versus now in terms of income, in terms of patient base, in terms of everything on the business side of things? And have I brought in enough business to earn that raise? And whenever you can actually look at it not from an emotional perspective, but a business perspective, then I think that really gives you the answer of, do I deserve this raise? And, we don't know that answer, but obviously this assistant sounds like she's put something into the practice. But what about on your side of things as the doc?
Yeah, I think that's great advice. So I feel like they're really difficult to have, but crucial conversations are a must for us as people to take our relationship to the next level. So let's assume that we didn't front load all of this with defining expectations, because I think that's the scenario here. So if you're moving into a situation like this, what I would recommend is have the conversation up front. Hey, when we build this together, when I do XYZ, what does that look like? Because we always put our best foot forward at the beginning of a relationship, right? Everyone's on their best behavior, and I'm going to be the greatest assistant. I'll be the greatest dentist. But assuming that you didn't have that, I think a simple way to do this, and this does not mean that you did anything wrong, but to have almost an apologetic approach to the dentist and say, hey, Dr. Kevin, I know we never talked about this before, and that's on me. Now, it's really not on you, but if you take it on your shoulders, that takes the pressure off me, the dentist, and I don't feel like you're pushing. I
Love
feel
that.
more like, oh, you're coming to the table. Then share your concerns, bring your data. So, if you guys didn't hear what Kevin just shared, it was show me how effective everything you built was. Because sometimes I'm just so in the weeds with the teeth that I'm not really paying attention to what happened. And then, so show me so I actually recognize, like, holy cow, Kevin, that was incredible. And then maybe just look at me, with like your most honest self and just say, um, how do you think moving forward we can best compensate me when I'm doing things like this? And stop talking. It'll force me to give you an answer. That awkward silence is powerful.
I love all of that because I think that we've got to have the attitude as team members. It's not that I deserve a raise, it's that I've earned a raise. And
Yeah.
again, go in that data and really bringing it to the dentist in the way that you described and making sure that, it's not a forced thing, but it's this is my plan. This is what we came up with together at the very start. And here's where we are now. Love that idea.
Yeah, and dentists, so take that same phrase that Kevin just shared because it's genius. You don't deserve a great team member. You earn great team members. So,
Right.
two sides to every relationship. Kev, any final thoughts? Any last pieces of advice?
I think just always have that communication flowing because we don't want to lose team members. Team members really honestly don't want to have to look for another practice. They found a home, they want to work with you. So just make sure that you're always staying ahead of the conversation.
I love it. How can the one person in the dental universe who doesn't know you get to know you?
Hey, reach out to me at Kevin at kevinspeaksdental.com. Love to do things like this and always love chatting with you, DRice, anytime that we can.
Hey, it's great seeing you, Kev. Appreciate your time.
Anytime, my friend.
Cheers, guys.